Welcome back. Greetings, everybody. I'm not going to waste too much time. Today's video is just going to be my last heavy lifting session. Hello, kitty. Now, of course, this last little while I've been training up for the Alberta Provincials. It's coming up on May 3rd. And so I've been pushing my weights. So some of the form is not going to be totally perfect, but it's pretty good. I'm going to cheat a little bit just so you guys know. I would just like to preface this before I start. Yes, this is very heavily influenced by Devin Larratt's training. Of course, I took the blueprint and I used it for myself to see how it would work. It's just the way that I like to train. But yeah, I'm not saying that I like created this training or anything, because I had a comment like that on one of the videos I made of how I train. Definitely not trying to say that this is my thing. I totally took this, even took some of his new stuff where he's just doing a few singles. This is basically Devin Larratt's training, couple little changes here and there, and this is very much so the training that he did before, like Hermes and Dennis. I know he's doing stuff a little bit differently now, but I'm still kind of doing that older way. I like this style, so, and I feel like I could use those movements where he's very simple now, just a straight cup, couple high and low pronation. I feel like I need a little more than that because I don't quite have the experience in the base that he does. So just a little disclaimer, this isn't my thing. I just took the blueprint. So first up, we got rise. We're at 50, 60, 65, 70, 72.5, and we're gonna throw one last 1.25 on just to push a little bit extra. Like I said, my angle is gonna be a little bit high, but it's still a pretty good lift, okay? Left is definitely harder. Now my favorite one, pronation. So we got 50, 75, 100. We got 50, 75, 100, 110, 115, and again we're gonna just throw another 1.25 on. The main focus on this one for me is just not budging even a little bit. I don't care so much if my arm angle isn't perfect. It doesn't honestly feel that much different to me whether I'm up a little bit or this way on my actual pronation. It's just easier for my arm. But this lift really isn't about the arm totally. It's about not losing your pronation. So that's more important to me. Yeah, that's not too bad. I still got more in the tank on that one. So far so good, Got a few more lifts. Got a little bit of cupping action coming up. I don't know, I'm thinking about wearing this Provincials. I don't know, would that be dumb? Anybody's got more experience, would that be dumb if I wore this? I don't know. I might just wear a big ass baggy Carhartt shirt too, I don't know. Would that be dumb if I wore this? It's the only arm wrestling shirt I have, and I don't have a club. I don't have an arm wrestling club shirt. That's all I got. Now I was actually running out of space on my loading pins with the small weights, so had to put some big ones on there. So we got 45, 90. The loading pin and everything is about 3 pounds, so I always just round it to 3 pounds. So 93, 94.25. The way I do this, definitely I grab a bit deep, so it's less about my fingers and more about my wrist. 94.25, gonna be hard. Bam! Not too bad. Get a little better camera angle for lefty. Lots of drag, lots of wrist. Oh yeah, not too bad. In between these ones, I'm going to do a back pressure lift. Now, my lift is actually a little bit different. I don't go here, one, because this weight's actually too much for me to do it from here. But I do have an opinion on the straight back pressure that, like, if you're able to post and you're able to get your knuckles high and not have the pressure in your fingers, I feel like you can use your back a lot more. And that bottom strap is going to be one that's more connected to your lat drag. And so this is kind of more, it's very singled in on just that part of that connection. It's not probably not a perfect lift. If I could do it this way, I probably would. I'm just too lazy to take those big ass 45s off there and put some lighter weights on. So I'm just gonna drop it out of my hand and just adjust onto my wrist, so then it's just more connected to my lat. Yeah. Easy lift, easy lift. I see some people tie straps, so then they have a strap here, and then they also have one that goes here. And of course, even in that lift, the one that's down lower is gonna be the one that bites anyways. It's a lot more connected to your back on this lower strap, I think, my opinion. In back pressure, that was 96.75, and now we're gonna bump down to 93. I'm gonna do my low cup. And I didn't add to my high cup or my low cup because they were getting pretty tough. But I'm almost wondering if I should have, because I'm pretty fresh right now. I'm only doing one heavy lift today. This is my trajectory. I'm just trying to get everything to just crunch down this way, okay? Yeah. Nice and slow. Yeah, I always feel that one after. All right, we're going a bit heavy on the press here. Next up, press. So again, we got our 90, we got 100 there, we got 110, and the 2 5s makes 120. Again, 123, 124, 2 5, 125 and a half, 126.75. Supination wrap, nice and slow. Belt press, 126.75. Not too bad. Here I had just a simple straight cut with a rolling handle. I don't have a great rolling handle, I only have a rolling thunder, so that's what I'm working with. I put this one a little bit more on my fingers, but it does attack it a little bit different than a multi does, but regardless. That was my shoulder cracking, by the way. Now, same weight for the press, the straight cup, and the grip. This one you've seen before, just pulse. I'm gonna go to probably 30 because it's pretty heavy for me, so instead of 50 that I normally do. Now this one's just for fun. I'm gonna see if I can still do like a half-ass one-arm pull-up, because I haven't really been doing them lately. Not right from the bottom, but not too bad, not too bad. Just flying, just flying. Yeah, so I'll take you guys through my blood flow, because I'm only doing 10 reps per exercise here, times 3. I'll do 3 rounds, and normally, like, I have a lot more time and reps to really feel all the positions, but whoops, I guess I only have 10 to work with here, so everything's gonna be super slow, and I wasn't counting, so hopefully that was 10. Just try to make everything very accurate and perfect. This one I was just doing to combat some ulnar pain, but it's been pretty good. It got to a point where I didn't really feel it so much anymore. It was, I think, from the really heavy pronation lifts and even the rides. I think anything at 90, it was just, sometimes I would get a pain through my ulnar side, which I think is probably pretty common amongst most people that have experienced, or I guess most arm wrestlers have probably experienced that at some point. And I was kind of experimenting with some very light side pressure just through my blood flow stuff, but I would usually transition it and actually kind of combine it with my press blood flow reps. All the way open, all the way closed as best I can, nice and slow. Probably only show the one round of this because it's going to be pretty boring as it is. Thing is, I don't think I can talk and count the best here, so I'm probably going to mess this up here, but I normally have a lot more reps to work with to go through all these motions. I like to kind of do like an outside regripping when I'm doing supination, and then I start to bring it inward, and then I really bring it inward, and then I do one that's kind of more just like a bicep pump, because I don't do a lot of bicep work, so I like to give it some tension, I guess. I don't know if it does anything for me, but that's what I do. Get a nice real outside pronation, like I'm swinging way out. Bring it right to your core. I've actually remained pretty healthy feeling with in my arms. Now I have a little bit of nagging pains like everybody does when they're training like this. So somewhere I notice back of my wrist sometimes, like if I push something the wrong way, I get a little bit of a pinch back there. That should go away by the time competition comes around, so I shouldn't have to worry too much about that one. And then yeah, my ulnar pain was a pretty big one, but I really worked around it, and I've been training like this non-stop for about 5 months, I think. It's the longest training block I've done with arm wrestling. And I would train every day, and I was doing it heavy every day up until a certain point, maybe the last maybe month or so, maybe 2 months, when I was getting still some pretty heavy numbers for me anyway. And what I would do is, there was some times where like if my arms just hurt and I felt like because the pain can really stop you from doing a lift properly, and you want to make sure that the form is like as perfect as it can be. I think a little bit of cheating is fine. I think if you try and cheat the same way every time, then at least you can measure progress, because I mean, I can set up as much weights as some other people are doing and cheat as much as I want, and I can't lift it. So it's not like cheating is gonna make you lift like insane weights that you're not gonna be able to put on the table. So I think using a little bit extra of body here and there or something, or a little bit of an angle, I don't think it's a huge issue. As I started to get heavy, of course I wanted to keep everything as perfect as I can, and I don't want to fail is the biggest thing. So I want to make sure that every lift actually happens, and it's not just like loading up and getting there and then like my wrist cracks on the lift, or like something buckles or whatever, and then I don't get the lift. Then that really will hurt you. So if I was ever super sore or felt like I didn't want to do heavy that day, I would take a kind of a rest, and I would just do my blood flow, just the 3 rounds. I was just doing 3 rounds the whole time of just all the different motions, about 50, sometimes a little more. And I felt like a day or even 2 days, especially like if I did 2 days, I would be super fresh by that next time that I went to lift heavy. And then I could lift heavy for 3 or 4 days in a row sometimes. And then if I start to feel a little fatigued by the end of that, I was kind of just riding the line of overtrain, because that's kind of the point of this training a little bit, is kind of riding that wave of almost like doing too much, and then when you do rest, you just recover like crazy. That's the theory. That's what I'm trying out. So, and I do throw in a little bit of thumb work with a band still after my blood flow. After each round, I'll go through my thumbs. Here's a little sheet that I made up a few weeks ago, actually, that was just kind of a reminder of the schedule of what I did. So up until the 14th, I just did normal training, and that was a Monday. So then the Tuesday, basically did the same amount of heavy singles and my regular blood flow, except I would cut down to 40 reps instead of 50. Then boom, down to 30 on the next day and only 2 singles. And then 20 reps and only 2 singles. And then the 18th, which is today, that was just one rep of singles, one last heavy workout, and only 10 reps for my blood flow. I still got to do another 2 rounds, but I'll do that off camera. And then I figured 1920, I'll do some like fairly light stuff and work on speed a little bit. And then the next day, it's just going to be bands, and then I will rest from 22nd to the 2nd. The 3rd is our day, competition day. Now we actually get to fill these out. So these are kind of what I estimated I would be at. And these weren't like a number that I felt like I had to hit, but it was a number that I figured I probably would hit. So our pronation, I figured I would get only to 112.5, and we ended up at 116.25. If I can set this up for us here, maybe I'll do it like this. So we ended up 116.25. In our rise, we ended up with 73.75. So 3.75 pounds higher than what we figured we'd be at. High cup, I made it to 94.25, I believe. Yeah, we ended up at 94.25. Now this would have actually been 95.5. That's my bad. And low cup, I was hoping to hit 91.75, and we ended up hitting 93. So that one is higher. And that kind of half-ass back pressure lift that I do, I figured I'd probably hit 95, and we hit, and again, this would actually be 95.5, and we ended up hitting 96.75. Press, grip, I figured I'd hit 123, and we ended up hitting 126.75 for both of these. And actually straight cup as well was all the same weight. Now I just realized at the end of that I was actually just slightly pushing this up out of frame the whole time. So I'm going to say what I was going to say. So everything here is actually higher than what I figured it was going to be at, except for high cup. High cup, we made it 1 increment lower than what I kind of figured I'd be at. But I definitely could have hit that. I didn't go one up on these two today on this last heavy workout, because last time I did them, it was getting really heavy. But that was 2 days ago. So 2 days ago, I actually I did everything here except for high cup and low cup. And then yesterday, I only did my pronation, rise, and my straight cup singles. And then I did all my blood flow, of course, with the altered rep. But yeah, these were pretty heavy last time, so I didn't actually go up on those because I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to do them with good form or decent form. So, but these ones I definitely could. I could have went 1.25 more on both these, but it is what it is. Here is my training sheet. These are kind of all the numbers. I'm covering up because one of my buddies was over. Figured he was a funny guy. Wrote a word on here that I should not show. The up here starts with rise, pronation, high cup, low cup, basically until I ran out of space. And then I ended up starting more and more. And yeah, kind of a straight cup was added in pretty late, so I started that one quite high. But yeah, see all my progressions there. You see on here, I didn't have an exact date, but began mid-December 2024, around my birthday actually. But yeah, that's about all I do. Like I said, I pump my thumb up a little bit, and I do a rice bucket. I do 3 rounds each hand, just basically till I get pumped. I actually do it the same way pretty well that Matt Mask showed in a video from a few years ago. I just kind of do his way, so I'm trying to make my hand a little bit thicker, and it's also supposed to be good for recovery, so I'm trying it out. I've been doing it probably since I started this training block, about 5 months. The next time you see me, hopefully I'm just going against the best in Alberta and just going like bang, easy day. Like I said, I'll definitely think about wearing this shirt because it's the only arm wrestling shirt that I have. Other than that, probably wear some baggy ass Carhartt shirt. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Hopefully you trained with me. Hopefully I entertained you for a few minutes. The next video that comes up should be competition day. It's only a couple weeks away, so We'll see you then.